Good morning, Zio here, and we're going to talk about Google Stadia. Stadia? However it is that you say that. Apparently it's going to be like the Netflix of gaming, where you can go ahead and pay a subscription, get access to a host of video games, you can have them streamed to whatever device you want to play, and that's not how that's going to work, is it? No. I'm going to have to pay for those games, aren't I? And a subscription. Well, Google Stadia is a massive piece of... Yeah, so that was horrible. I had no idea how to even start this video. But Google Stadia, that is the name of the game right now. That's what we're talking about. It's a service by Google. When I first heard about it, I did, of course, immediately think, oh, it's like Netflix, but with gaming. That would be cool. So you pay for a game and then you get to remote play it wherever it is you want to and all this other stuff. And that's not exactly how that works. See, instead you have to pay for a service and then you have to separately pay for a game. And yeah, that's about it. You also don't get to keep that game. You don't have any ownership to that game. You have no backups, no copies, no nothing. So if something does happen, say Stadia decides, after doing this for a few years to completely shut down, you're out whatever money you've spent on it, especially into the games and stuff that are out there. Because, when it comes to a lot of games and things, and you know how DLC and all that other stuff works, I just don't see how Stadia is gonna... I don't know. I don't think it's gonna survive. Seriously. Especially with their launch. But anyway, that's what we're here to talk about. It's the launch of Stadia. So go ahead and get your coffee ready. We're gonna need this as we chug through this horrible lineup of video games that they're offering us, many of which have been out for years. Nothing wrong with that, but probably shouldn't launch that way. But yeah, so Google Stadia is going to launch itself with 12 games, and by the end of the year it's going to have more games drop as well. The games, of course, are going to be as follows. We're going to just take a look at that. Assassin's Creed Odyssey, Destiny 2, Guilt, which, by the way, apparently is the only exclusive. This is the only thing that really is there to try and bring in people, and no offense to an indie developer or anything, because I know some of y'all have done pretty good things. However, it's not exactly a console pusher or anything. When you're trying to launch a new service, you probably shouldn't throw things in on, we've got this exclusive indie game, maybe you want it. Yeah, anyway, Just Dance 2020, Keen, I'm not even sure what that is. Keen? I got nothing. Okay. Anyway, Mortal Kombat 11, Red Dead Redemption 2, Rise of the Tomb Raider, Samurai Showdown, Shadow of the Tomb Raider, Definitive Edition, something called Thumper, and then another Tomb Raider game, because apparently Stadia really loves Tomb Raider. And not the older ones, just some of the newer ones, which, surprisingly, I had to go and look up some information, because I can't find the actual price of these games, but it said it clearly in one of the videos that, you get the service and then you pay for the games that you want, like as in you go out and you buy the game separately. What I found to be really weird is the fact that some of these games are mainly the Tomb Raider games and Mortal Kombat 11, I guess, because this was, but anyway, the Tomb Raider games, they're still $60 and they're like several years old. That is weird. That's something I expect from Nintendo or Super Nintendo or Super Mario is still $60. Even though, there's been a Super Mario 2 and a 3 at this point in this generation cycle, and they're all still $60. That's a Nintendo move there, but I did look them up on Steam, and all the Tomb Raiders, with the exception of Tomb Raider, the first one, are still $60, of course. And I think one came out in 2016, and one might have been a little bit more recent. But, yeah, we could look at that real quick. If I can hit the right button. Boom. There we go. So this is Tomb Raider, Game of the Year edition. It's $29.99. Not really much there to look at. That's the older Tomb Raider. And of course I threw these on here so I could find them super quick. But yeah, you got Rise of the Tomb Raider. It's also $60. And that one was released back in 2016, of course. So it's been a while. Then we can go back down here and get Shadow of the Tomb Raider Definitive Edition, which is what they're offering, 2018. It comes as a bundle, no choice around that, for $59.38. So, yeah. When it comes to the pricing, the reason I was looking at that is I was wanting to see what the pricing is for these games. Because I keep hearing people throwing around $60 for these games, but I haven't been able to find anything to actually confirm it. Maybe it was during some kind of Q&A or something on Reddit and I missed it or whatever. But, yeah, I kept hearing that number floating around. I was like, there's no way that they're going to put up things like Rise the Tomb Raider for $60 and force you to pay for this thing for $130. But as I was looking it up, it turns out that game actually is like $60 at other locations for some odd reason. And if they decide to just make everything the same price, of course, you've got games that have no business being there. And of course, Destiny 2, I think, was going free to play regardless, if I remember correctly. So the fact that it's included with the Stadia Pro subscription, woo, it's not exactly a game changer. But anyway, we've gotten sidetracked here. 14 additional titles as promised at the launch, or are promised to launch. Attack on Titan 2, okay. Borderlands 3, that one's relatively new. Darksiders Genesis, Dragon Ball Xenoverse 2. Xenoverse 2? That's... why not? Forget it. Anyway, Farming Simulator 19, Final Fantasy 15, Football Manager 2020. Somebody out there loves those games. I'm just saying. I may not, but somebody does. Ghost Recon Breakpoint, Grid, Metro, Exodus, NBA 2K20, Rage 2, Trials Risen, and Wolfenstein Youngblood. A number of legacy titles that were previously promised as part of Stadia's launch window are currently not included in the list as well, which is apparently The Crew 2, Destroy All Humans, Doom 2016, The Elder Scrolls Online, Power Rangers Battle for the Grid. Power Rangers? Anyway, Super Hot Windjammers 2, but they are set for another time, sometime next year apparently. But yeah, so Stadia is going to cost $130, and it's going to cost a reoccurring fee of $9.99. But at the same time, there's apparently talk about a free version of Stadia, which of course, if you're going to do Stadia, that is probably the one you're going to do, because you get nothing for buying this thing other than a dongle that connects to your TV or whatever, so you can, play the games, and a controller that, well, mine's not sitting here at the moment, but you can use anything else. Especially if you've got a computer. But this is what the current thing is right now. It's going to be launching November, or a few days from now. At $130, people are going to be paying for this to get Comcast Ultra Stadia controller and 3-month subscription plus 3-month Buddy Pass for Destiny 2. Which, of course, is another thing to look at, because apparently the things that Stadia promised to launch with aren't also happening, of course. But purchase a la carte and either tier, discounts on game purchases, free games at regular cadence, no early reservations of Stadium name. Now, they have said there's going to be free games if you get the Pro subscription. Like, that should be the thing you get the subscription for. It's for these free games. However, there's not been any word about it, other than them saying. I mean, seriously, with what this thing was promising, Stadia was promising, compared to what it gets, you're better off getting something like PlayStation Pro or PlayStation Plus. I can't remember what it's actually called. Is it Xbox Live Gold and then PlayStation Plus? I hadn't had this thing so long, I can't remember. But anyway, real quick, these are the things that aren't coming that were promised. You've got Stream Connect, Stream Share, and Crowd Play, the main features that allow players to join in one another's games and make Stadia more than just a glorified remote play, which apparently that's all it is at the moment. I expect the first game with Steam Connect to launch by the end of the year, said Audrey, whatever the last name is, because I can't say names. We've established that, right? Anyway, Stadia's director of products, the games that support state share and crowdplay will be released next year. And listen, if you've got a subpar product and you're rushing it out for the holiday season, do us a favor and look in the history books and see how horrible that has worked for everybody else. Stop it. But Stadia's achievement system isn't going to work either. Although they are going to record your things, they're just not going to be able to notify you because nobody's been able to get around to creating, I guess, the UI to show you. Because nothing screams, we've done a great job than throwing out a half-baked, half-assed product like Google Stadia. The ability to use existing Chromecast Ultras to play, you're not going to have that because guess what? It doesn't have a firmware update to play Stadia games. So the only ones who are going to be able to actually use current Chromecasts Ultras are going to be those who got it when it was shipped. So you got to pay the $130 for it. Family sharing, that's also not going to be a thing right now. The Buddy Pass, oh, by the way, that's not included either. So, however, you should be able to get it in about, I think it was 2 weeks after you receive your bundle. So don't worry, give it 2 weeks. You'll get that at least. The Stadia controller, at least for some people, everyone who pre-ordered Stadia will get their codes to sign onto the service starting November 19th and will be able to play on their phones and Chrome desktop browsers with keyboard and mouse. However, the package containing the controllers and Chromecast will have staggering shipping because apparently Google, as infinite and huge as it is incapable of shipping everything in one day and getting it, set up in a way to where it shows up at your house on release day. Amazon can do it. Other companies can do it. Google just can't be bothered. But yeah, here we go with the prices again. I was really looking for how much it's going to cost just for the games, what they look like, but I can't actually find anybody to confirm it other than what people say in something, but they don't actually confirm it from the company. You know what I mean? But yeah, so we've got the games that, of course, that are launching and coming out shortly after. There's the specs and required internet speed. And this is another point of contention. If you're going to sit there and give me a system where I can remote play video games, fine, whatever. I mean, it may work for some people, especially if they can't afford the system or whatever to actually play the game. But there's other issues like internet speeds and apparently data caps, because internet has data caps now. I mean, it was a matter of time, and I say that with a question like it doesn't or something, but I know it does, because it's one of the reasons I had dropped whatever it was I had, because they had like a 100 gig limit or something. I can't remember what it was, but it was ridiculous. And the amount of streaming and things I do, I'm just like, yeah, I can't do that. I mean, heck, when I was not home and always away on business and stuff, I think I blew through 180 some gigs worth just using my phone. So yeah, me being home and doing things, I'm probably going to be doing a lot more, especially since I can game. But yeah, that's another issue, of course. Data cap, speed, another thing. I mean, according to this chart here, I'm barely going to be able to do 720 at 60 frames. Barely. That's not cool. that's just not cool. I if I'm going to pay for it, I want something better. But yeah, that's about it. So Google Stadia is going to be coming out soon. It's going to cost you $130. Your bundle is going to come staggered whenever it is that you actually bought it. So if you go out and buy it now, expect it to come sometime in December, more than likely, before you actually get it. Most of the features that they promised, well, they're not available right now. The games are subpar. They're not worth having. They're definitely not worth buying this to just get a hold of, considering they're available everywhere else for cheaper. I mean, heck, they said Final Fantasy XIV's on there, and ESO is on there, and I think ESO right now, or as of yesterday or something, was $9.99 for the base game on Steam itself. And Final Fantasy 15 has been at my local Walmart for like $20. It was the day one special edition, and they've got plenty of them, and it's been there for like $20 this entire time. So if they decide to sell that for $60, I don't know what to tell you. But a lot of the things, of course, are going to be there, and I guess that is how I'm going to end this. Let me know what you think down in the comments below. Are you excited for Stadia? Are you going to have Stadia? Are you going to give it a try? If it has a free tier, it might be worth checking out just to see how it works, especially since I live out in the country and I'm kind of away from any major city that normally has good internets. Because I know they were talking about putting Google Fiber or something at one of the cities that is like an hour and a half to 2 hours away from me. But ta-da, we still ain't got it. In fact, I don't think they even have it. It was just discussed. But yeah, let me know down in the comments below, and I will talk to you later. See ya.
Hey, thanks for watching. Don't forget to leave a comment, smash that like button, and always subscribe for more. And of course, there are other videos floating around somewhere on the screen, so click one of those and see if you can find something that suits your fancy. Till then, I'll see you later. Bye.